Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Competitive Corner Spotlight, and today we're going to be looking at Dragalge, the Poison Dragon type Pokemon. So, moving on from last episode, I decided to do a little bit different, and now we're going to give a brief overview. So, Dragalge is Poison Dragon, which is actually unique to Dragalge. It's the only Pokemon that has that typing. As you can see by the base stats, they're not great. You know, you've got 65 HP, 75 attack, 90 defense, 97 special attack, 123 special defense, and 44 speed. So in general, it's not going to be hitting too hard. It can take some hits, but overall it seems a bit average. Its typing gives it a weakness to ground, psychic, ice, and dragon, but it gives it a lot of resistances to fighting, poison, bug, fire, water, grass, electric. It has a pretty good defensive typing, to be quite honest with you, in general. But what makes Dragalge so good, well, a little too many so's, is the fact that it gets adaptability. So, here's the first set. I'm going to hit play on this video as we go, and what you need to see is that without any investment, Dragalge isn't going to be doing very much damage, you know? It only has base 97 special attack, and its other abilities, Poison Point and Poison Touch, are really useless on Dragalge. They're not going to really be doing anything, nothing good for you. So you're going to always want to go for Adaptability, and what that does is it increases your stab from 1.5 to 2. And that's actually pretty powerful when you consider that a Draco Meteor coming off of that does a lot of damage. So, for the set, you've got Sludge Bomb, Draco Meteor, Hydro Pump, and Thunderbolt. Ability is Adaptability, of course. Item is Choice Specs or Life Orb. You can't go without, if you want to go offensive, you really need Life Orb or Choice Specs, because honestly, the 97 base special attack isn't going to really be hitting very hard, nearly as hard as you really want it to be outside of Draco Meteor, so that's something to consider. Some other options are Scald, Dragon Pulse, Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, and Protect. If you're not using specs, Protect is a good option because, you know, you're slow, so if you're not going to be running it in Trick Room, you're going to want to Protect to avoid some attacks while you take care of the threats. Scald and Dragon Pulse are there if you don't like the negative drop from Draco, or you don't like the miss from Hydro Pump. Scald is actually a pretty solid option. You're not going to be really doing a lot of damage to things that are only one times weak to it, but you'll still be able to do some damage to that. And then here are just some really quick calcs that you saw at the beginning of this video. Florges, rockin' max HP, max special defense, calm nature. You 2-hit KO it does a minimum of 70.2%, and that's pretty ridiculous. That's really good. And then even more impressive is Goodra. You do a minimum of 84.2%, and that's max HP with Assault Vest, and that's pretty impressive. As for some other calcs to look at, you know, again, against the more potent threats, the top 15, you've got 252 HP Mega Kangaskhan. It does a minimum of 82%. That's pretty cool. That's pretty nice. You can't really take a return though, so it's not that great. 252 HP Assault Vest Lando T. It does a minimum of 71% with Draco, of course. That's what you'll be using. Obviously, Hydro Pump will do a little bit more than that. Now, this is one of the coolest things, and you saw this in the video, but 252 HP, 252 special defense, calm natured with Assault Vest Sylveon, you have a 98.4% chance to 2-hit KO. Now, you're never going to see that. You're never going to see max special defense Assault Vest Sylveon, but it's really impressive that you have a very good chance to 2-hit KO that. So just remember that your Sludge Bomb will do a lot of damage to Sylveon. 252 HP Heatran, that does 70% with Hydro Pump, so that's a guaranteed 2-hit KO. It really can't do anything back to you. I mean, Earth Power will hurt a bit, but I'm pretty sure it won't take you out. 252 HP for special defense, Aegislash in shield form does a minimum of 44.9% with Shadow Ball, which is a 44% chance to 2-hit KO. So Obviously, it's very easy for Dragalge to be slower than Aegislash, so you'll probably be hitting it in blade form, so you'll be at least 2-hit KOing that thing. Charizard Y is a 1-hit KO with Draco Meteor 100% of the time. Thunderbolt also does a 2-hit KO. I don't know how much it does because I didn't put down the calc for that, but it does pretty much enough. Talonflame, you 1-hit KO with pretty much every single move you own. Especially the main set, you can hit it with Sludge Bomb and Draco Meteor. That will 1-hit KO it every single time. And then Hydro Pump will also 1-hit KO it, and Thunderbolt will 1-hit KO it if it's not running any kind of like shenanigans with special defense. And finally, 4 HP Bisharp does a minimum of 82% with Draco Meteor, and that's pretty impressive. You really don't want to take a knockoff or an Iron Head, because those will hurt pretty badly. But it's still decently impressive that you can 2-hit KO something that resists it. I mean, Bisharp isn't super bulky, but either way, it's still kind of nice. So yeah, that's the first thing you can do with this with Dragalge. Honestly, I don't know what the best strategy for Dragalge is because, well, we'll get to it, but the next option is a more defensive set where you're running Assault Vest instead of an offensive item. Now everything pretty much stays the same, mainly because, you know, it doesn't really have many options to his name, and if you're running Assault Vest, obviously you can't run support. But I even tried it. You know, he doesn't really get very much support in terms of support. He does get Haze, but in VGC you don't really see a lot of stat boosting. He gets, you know, Venoshock and Toxic, which could be pretty useful, but not, you know, overall very useful. So the main set, I put Sludge Bomb, Dragon Pulse, Scald, and Thunderbolt. I put Dragon Pulse over Draco Meteor because you're running Assault Vest, so the purpose is to kind of stay in there as long as you can and absorb hits. So if you're going for Draco Meteors, you're not going to really be able to stay in for very long, because then you're going to be losing your attack. And I put Scald because, again, you're more defensive, so if you get that burn, it's going to be a lot more useful for your entire team. So that's something you really want to consider. So again, options are Hydro Pump, Draco Meteor, Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, and Protect. You can't really run Protect if you're running Assault Vest. If you want to do some sort of shenanigans where you aren't running Assault Vest, Protect's a good option. Otherwise, don't. That was a typo on my hand, but you can still work it into a defensive set. You can run like Shookaberry if you want. I'd suggest Shookaberry is probably the better of the items that you could. Citrus Berry is a good idea as well. Leftovers, I wouldn't. If you're going to go for the heal over time, go for Black Sludge. That'll screw over people who are using Trick. Not that it's common, but it doesn't hurt you, plus you're allowed to use, if you want to use 2 Pokemon that benefit from Leftovers with Black Sludge, you can do that because of the poison type. So just some quick calcs. Alakazam Mega is a 2-hit KO 100% of the time. Choice Specs with Alakazam is a 2-hit KO, and those are both with Psychic. So you can sit in on probably one of the strongest Psychics in the game. That's really impressive. Camerupt Mega is a 2-hit KO with Earth Power. That's, again, pretty impressive. It's just, again, really impressive. And then some other decently impressive things that you can do with this. A non-boosted Garchomp's Earthquake, so that's 252 attack, neutral, natured, is a 2-hit KO. It does a maximum of 95 damage, so, again, you gotta be wary, you know, if you're going against this with the offensive set, Life Orb will kill you. So you have to be a little bit careful with the Garchomp, especially if he gets a higher roll. But it's kind of nice. Unfortunately, the GTS went down when I was doing this, so I wasn't able, in the middle of it actually, so I wasn't able to see how often Garchomps carry Life Orb. The last I remember, they were carrying Life Orb fairly common, so don't stay in on a Garchomp's Earthquake unless you know for sure it isn't Banded or Life Orb. And now 252 attack, Adamant Nature, Tough Claws, Mega Metagross's Meteor Mash is a guaranteed to KO. It does a maximum of 91%, and that's pretty nice. Obviously, a smart player would use Zen Headbutt against you, and that's definitely a guaranteed 1-hit KO, but it's still nice to know that you can take a Meteor Mash, so that's really something to consider. And then a 252 attack Mega Salamence Dragon Claw. Now that's Jolly Natured. has a 68.8% chance to one-hit KO you. So again, you know, this is where I have my issues with Dragalge. You either go really defensive and try your hardest to kind of take attacks, but then if you do that, you're sacrificing a lot of attack, because remember, Dragalge only has base 97 special attack, so if you're not really investing in the special attack, or even having a boosting item, the only attack that's going to do a lot of damage is going to be the Draco Meteor. And the problem with that is that if you're defensive, you want to stay in and take hits and support your teammate, but you can't if you're at -2, because then you're not going to be doing anything, especially if you're running Assault Vest. Now, if you're running more of a supporting set, again, I can't say that's going to work out well for you, because he really doesn't have much in the way of support. He doesn't have Quick Guard, he doesn't have Wide Guard, he doesn't really have Helping Hand, he doesn't have anything outside of maybe Scald to really help the team. He does get Acid Armor, which is kind of useful, not... Again, boosting in VGC is a little bit hard because it's a very fast-paced format. So Dragalge in general, if you want the typing, I'd say go more offensively and run it under Trick Room, because this thing can hit incredibly hard if you make it hit incredibly hard. But it needs a lot of support. It can't take any physical attacks for the most part. Anything that's boosted that's a ground move will take you out, especially if you're not running Assault Vest. Because I mean, remember, the Earth Power does 2-hit KO, but that's with Assault Vest. So without Assault Vest, you're going to be very, very far out. And plus, Camerupt actually does outspeed you in Trick Room. So it's one of those Pokemon that has an incredibly good typing, a very good ability, but not the stats to back it up. So if you're going to use Dragalge, do yourself a solid and really support that thing. Wide Guard is going to be your friend. Trick Room is going to be your friend. Helping Hand is going to be your friend completely. The non-stab attacks don't hit hard at all. You're going to be hard-pressed to KO anything that isn't a Talonflame or 4 times weak. It's just one of those things that you really, really, really have to consider what you're going to do with that. Because you're either going to be spamming Draco and switching out every turn, or trying to get the attacks off without Draco. You know, something like Bisharp, while you do 2-hit KO with Draco, you really have to be careful about that, because they can do a serious amount of damage to you, and you have to be careful. I know when I was running Dragalge for the PDL, I actually Thunderbolted the Bisharp first to break the sash, and then I followed up with the Draco. So that's something you should consider. Try breaking sashes with a weaker move that you know you can survive their attacks. So like, you know, something like Bisharp, you can for the most part take their attacks. It's gonna hurt, but you can take it. And then follow it up. Because if you try and break a sash with Draco, you're going to be at -2. You're going to be in a worse position, and then you're not going to really want to spam Draco Meteor, because it does have that 90% accuracy. So if you miss it at a crucial turn, it's going to be a problem. So you want to try and do as much damage as you can without using Draco, and then follow it up where either you can get the KO or you know for a fact that you can one-hit KO. So again, Dragalge is one of those Pokemon that it really needs a revamp. It needs some more offenses. I mean, even just giving it like 8 points, bringing it up to 105 will definitely help it a lot more. Because I mean, there are a lot of things that work with 105 special attack, and Dragalge does get some good coverage. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys at the next episode. Peace.